Hello once again, watchers of good movies. My name is Nick Pell and this is my review of Hobbs and Shaw. Now this film is a spin-off of the Fast and Furious franchise starring Dwayne Johnson and Jason Statham as Hobbs and Shaw from the most recent films in that franchise. They have to team up to stop this massive virus from basically getting out into the world and basically killing a lot of people, and take down Indra Salva, who's basically become a cyborg in this movie. So it deviates a little bit from the traditional Fast and Furious film formula of like cars and big chase scenes and escapes and things like that. Now if you've seen the more recent Fast and Furious films, which have starred both Dwayne Johnson and Jason Statham as these characters, you more or less know what their relationship is going to be like in this movie, at least at the first half of it. They're basically very against working together, but their chemistry and doing like these one-liners to each other and just their quips and how they treat each other is a lot of fun, and it does have a lot of comedy to it, especially in the beginning when you're seeing them just react to, oh hey, I have to work with this guy, no thank you. And it's fun to see on screen, and I think that they work well as a duo, and I would be curious enough to see more from them in these roles if they decide to go a sequel route. Vanessa Kirby is also in this film. She is a disgraced MI6 agent, and she ends up having to basically team up with Dwayne Johnson and Jason Statham's characters in order to help them basically take down Indra Salva. And so she also does a good job in her role. She was more involved in the movie than I guess I for some reason thought she was going to be. I thought she was just going to be kind of like popping up here and there, but no, she's a very prominent character, probably in the film just as much as Dwayne Johnson and Jason Statham. And I thought, again, she's a very fun character to see on screen, and I really want to see more from her as an actress in just other projects. Now, one of the more unexpected parts of this film is how many cameos there are, and there's some which I didn't even hear about or didn't even see coming. One of which is Ryan Reynolds, and not gonna lie, he is probably the best part of this movie. He is in the film for maybe like 5 minutes or more, but he had me laughing more than any other scene in this film, just because he basically plays Deadpool without the costume and without being like in a Marvel universe, and just the way that he's bouncing off of Dwayne Johnson's character, it just had me laughing so much just because of how funny he was on screen. And he's in the film just kind of sporadically, and every scene that he was in, I loved it. And he's not even the star of the film, which is the funny thing about it. It's just like, I didn't expect him to be as big a character as he was, and he's not that big a character, but his scenes are easily the best ones of the movie. The action scenes, and there are action scenes, because this film is very much a action film as opposed to a action film with cars, like the more recent Fast and Furious films have been. It deals more with, like, it does have some chase scenes and whatnot, but it has a lot of hand-to-hand combat as well, and so it feels more like a traditional action movie than a Fast and Furious movie. And I thought that it did the scenes well for the most part. There's lots of explosions, and it's over-exaggerated. It's kind of what you would expect it to be. It is a little annoying at times as to how kind of massive and over the top it kind of gets at times, but still fun to watch on screen, and all the fight scenes are choreographed fairly well. There is quite a bit of slow-mo though in the action scenes, just for whatever reason. I don't know why they have decided to rely so much on slow-mo, especially during the final fight scene. There's a lot of it, which is just why. I understand kind of why it's there. It's like to emphasize what's happening, but it's like, come on. The film's also too long. This is a comment that I've seen in a lot of other places, and I agree with it 100%. The film feels like it should be like at least half an hour shorter, if not more. There's a lot of like smaller things which they could have cut out entirely, and they could have just wrapped the film up in about an hour and a half or a little hour and 40 minutes, if not around that time. And so it feels like it takes too long to get going. There's too many pauses in the action, kind of deal with like character development, which isn't really necessary for this movie, because I have no idea how much it's even going to tie into the 9th Fast and Furious movie, if at all. And so it just almost feels like, why is this all going to matter ultimately? And then Indra Salva as the villain, he's fine. He does the bad guy thing. He's working for a higher up person who we don't know who it is. So sequel bait, basically. Just as a villain, he's very one note. He doesn't really have a very compassionate or compelling reason for what he's doing, really, for the most part. And he just kind of bored me on screen. His fight scenes were all cool, and he's got these cybernetic powers where you can kind of predict where people are going to punch from and how powerful their punches are going to be and things like that. But it didn't really do a lot after the first couple times you see it on screen. And then the last like big fight scene where it's like big army versus another big army, it starts off at night and then it goes into daytime and then it goes to a big thunderstorm, all in the span of about 10 minutes. And there's not really any time jumps whatsoever during the course of this fight. And it seemed like lazy editing, and I don't know why it was done that way, but it just seems stupid to me, because when you realize, oh hey, it was pitch black out like 2 minutes ago and now it's bright and sunny out, it just doesn't seem well done, in my opinion. I think if one of the characters had mentioned like, oh hey, the weather's really weird here, then it would have worked fine, because it's like, oh hey, they're pointing out the funny quip about this movie. But no, nobody mentions it. It's not addressed at all. It just seems out of place and seems really lazy. Yeah, it just kind of bugged me, and that is something that I couldn't stop thinking about during the final fight scene when I should have been trying to enjoy the action. So guys, overall, Hobbs and Shaw, it's fine. It's a dumb action movie for a summer blockbuster. It takes place within the Fast and Furious universe, and if you like Dwayne Johnson and Jason Statham's characters from that franchise, you'll find it fine, probably, just like I did. Their chemistry works well, Ryan Reynolds is fantastic, and the action scenes do their job for the most part, but there's just too many flaws for me to really want to go back and check this thing out a second time if I even ever get the opportunity, because again, too much slow-mo, the film's way too long, and the villain's kind of one note. So those are my thoughts on Hobbs and Shaw. Let me know yours in the comments down below. Did you like it as much as I did? Did you hate it more than I did? Let me know. Also, let me know your favorite film in the Fast and Furious franchise. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Like, favorite, comment, and subscribe once again if you so choose. I appreciate it immensely. And as always, bring people, my name is Nick Pell. And once again, keep on watching.